When people talk about classic John Wayne westerns, movies like Stagecoach, The Searchers, or Rio Bravo usually steal the spotlight. But Hondo, released in 1953, quietly carved out its own place in Western history. It's lean, tense, emotional, and surprisingly progressive for its time. Directed by John Farrow and starring John Wayne at his most restrained, Hondo tells a story that feels more personal and morally complicated than many frontier films of the era. At first glance, it looks like a straightforward tale of a tough cavalry scout helping a woman and her child survive in hostile territory. But once you dig beneath the surface, Hondo is packed with behind-the-scenes drama, groundbreaking choices, uncredited contributions, and subtle storytelling decisions that most viewers never notice. So today, we're diving deep. These are 20 hidden facts about Hondo from 1953 that reveal how this quiet western became one of John Wayne's most meaningful films. Let's ride. 1. Hondo was based on a Louis L'Amour story that wasn't a novel yet. A lot of people assume Hondo was adapted from one of Louis L'Amour's famous Western novels. The truth is a little more interesting. The movie was based on a short story called The Gift of Cochise, which L'Amour had written for Collier's magazine in 1952. At the time the film went into production, Hondo as a novel didn't even exist yet. What's wild is that after the movie was already in development, L'Amour expanded the short story into a full novel titled Hondo, which was published in 1953 around the same time the movie came out. That means the book many fans read was actually influenced by the movie version, not the other way around. It's one of the rare cases where a film adaptation helped shape the final form of the novel itself. 2. John Wayne took the role because he believed in the story's message. By the early 1950s, John Wayne could pretty much pick any project he wanted. He wasn't hurting for roles, and he didn't need the money. What drew him to Hondo wasn't the action or the gunfights. It was the theme. Wayne strongly believed in the idea that the film portrayed Native Americans as complex human beings rather than cartoon villains. The Apache characters in Hondo are not evil for the sake of being evil. They are defending their land, their families, and their way of life. Wayne reportedly felt that this was closer to the truth of American history than most Westerns dared to admit at the time. That belief pushed him to fully commit to the role, even though Hondo is quieter, more introspective, and less flashy than many of his other Westerns. 3. This was one of John Wayne's most understated performances. If you're expecting the loud, swaggering John Wayne persona, Hondo might surprise you. His character speaks less, moves carefully, and reacts emotionally in ways Wayne didn't always allow himself to do on screen. Hondo Lane isn't a show-off. He's observant, cautious, and deeply shaped by loss. Wayne intentionally toned down his usual bravado to make the character feel like a man who has seen too much violence and doesn't want more of it. This choice makes Hondo feel more grounded and human than many Westerns of the time. Film historians often point to this performance as proof that Wayne could act with subtlety when he wanted to. It's not about big speeches. It's about pauses, glances, and restraint. 4. Geraldine Page's performance shocked Hollywood. Geraldine Page played Angie Lowe, and her performance in Hondo stunned critics. At the time, she was relatively unknown in Hollywood and came from a strong theater background. Her acting style was more naturalistic and emotionally raw than what audiences were used to seeing in Westerns. Her portrayal of a woman trapped in a brutal environment, raising a child alone while waiting for a husband who may never return, brought a level of realism that elevated the entire film. Hollywood noticed. Page received an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress, which was rare for a Western and nearly unheard of for a female character in that genre at the time. Many critics later said that Page's performance forced John Wayne to raise his own acting game, creating a more balanced and emotionally rich movie. 5. Hondo was filmed in 3D, but most people never saw it that way. Yes, Hondo was originally released in 3D during Hollywood's short-lived early 1950s 3D craze. Warner Brothers pushed the format heavily, hoping it would lure audiences back to theaters as television grew more popular. However, very few theaters were properly equipped to show the 3D version. As a result, most audiences saw Hondo in standard 2D. That's why some scenes feel oddly staged, with characters positioned at specific depths or objects moving toward the camera. These choices were designed to pop in 3D, but look subtle, or even strange in flat projection. Today, restored versions allow viewers to finally experience the film as it was originally intended, revealing a surprising amount of visual depth. 6. The dog Sam became one of the most beloved characters. Sam, Hondo's loyal dog, might seem like a simple supporting character, but audiences instantly connected with him. The bond between Hondo and Sam adds warmth and humanity to an otherwise tense survival story. Behind the scenes, the dog was highly trained and often hit his marks better than some human actors. John Wayne reportedly adored working with the dog and felt Sam helped soften Hondo's tough exterior. The animal becomes a symbol of loyalty and emotional stability in a dangerous, unpredictable world. Many viewers remember Sam more vividly than some of the human characters, which says a lot about how effectively the relationship was portrayed. 7. The Apache characters were treated with unusual respect. For a 1953 Western, Hondo was surprisingly progressive in its depiction of Native Americans. The Apaches are not portrayed as mindless villains. They are strategic, disciplined, and motivated by understandable reasons. The film even acknowledges broken treaties and the reality that white settlers often encroached on Apache land. While it still reflects some stereotypes of the era, Hondo goes further than most Westerns in presenting Native characters with dignity and purpose. This approach helped set the film apart and made it resonate more strongly with audiences who were beginning to question simplistic frontier narratives. 8. The character of Vittorio was inspired by a real Apache leader. Vittorio, the Apache chief in the film, was loosely inspired by real Apache leaders like Cochise and Geronimo. Louis L'Amour studied Apache history extensively and wanted the character to reflect intelligence, honor, and tactical brilliance. Vittorio is not portrayed as cruel or reckless. He is calm, deliberate, and deeply committed to protecting his people. This portrayal challenges the usual Western trope of the savage enemy and instead presents a leader forced into conflict by circumstance. The mutual respect between Hondo and Vittorio becomes one of the film's most powerful themes. 9. Hondo's mixed heritage was a bold choice. Hondo Lane is revealed to have lived among the Apaches and even married an Apache woman who was later killed. This backstory was daring for its time, especially for a John Wayne character. It places Hondo in a morally complex position. He understands both worlds, but fully belongs to neither. This internal conflict drives much of his behavior and explains why he approaches violence cautiously. For 1953 audiences, this was a challenging idea, but it added depth and realism that helped the film age better than many of its contemporaries. 10. John Wayne helped shape the final script. Although not officially credited as a writer, John Wayne had significant input on the script. He pushed for changes that emphasized character over spectacle and insisted that certain moments be handled quietly rather than with melodrama. Wayne believed the story worked best when emotions were implied rather than spoken outright. His influence helped create the film's restrained tone, which contrasts sharply with more bombastic westerns of the era. This behind-the-scenes involvement shows how invested Wayne was in making Hondo something special. 11. The film was shot on a tight schedule. Despite its polished look, Hondo was filmed relatively quickly. The production didn't have the luxury of long delays or extensive reshoots. This forced the cast and crew to stay focused and efficient. Some of the film's tension actually comes from this urgency. Scenes feel immediate and grounded, as if the characters don't have time to waste, which mirrors the story itself. The tight schedule may have helped the film maintain its lean, no-nonsense pacing. 12. Angie Lo was one of the strongest female characters in a 1950s Western. Angie Lo isn't a helpless damsel. She's frightened, yes, but she's also resilient, practical, and deeply protective of her son. She manages the homestead alone in hostile territory, making tough decisions every day. Geraldine Page's performance ensures that Angie never feels like a passive character. She challenges Hondo, questions his assumptions, and ultimately makes her own choices. This level of agency was rare for women in Westerns at the time and helped redefine what female characters could be in the genre. 13. The film avoids romantic cliches. The romance between Hondo and Angie develops slowly and realistically. There's no instant attraction, no sweeping declarations of love. Instead, trust builds through shared danger and quiet understanding. This subtle approach makes the relationship feel earned rather than forced. It also reflects the emotional restraint of both characters, who have been shaped by loss and hardship. The result is a romance that feels grounded and believable, even by modern standards. 14. The violence is minimal but impactful. Compared to many westerns, Hondo contains relatively little violence. When it does occur, it's quick, brutal, and meaningful. The film avoids glorifying gunfights or body counts. Each act of violence carries emotional weight and consequences. This approach reinforces the film's themes of survival and moral complexity. By holding back, Hondo makes every confrontation matter more. 15. The landscape plays an active role in the story. The harsh desert environment isn't just a backdrop. It's a character in its own right. The land shapes every decision the characters make, from where they travel to how they fight. The cinematography emphasizes isolation, vulnerability, and the sheer scale of the wilderness. This visual storytelling deepens the sense of danger and underscores the characters' resilience. The environment constantly reminds viewers that survival is never guaranteed. 16. The film reflects post-war American anxiety. Released less than a decade after World War II, Hondo reflects a society grappling with questions about violence, authority, and moral responsibility. Hondo's reluctance to fight unless absolutely necessary mirrors a growing desire for restraint after years of global conflict. The film asks whether violence can ever truly solve problems, or if it only creates more suffering. These themes resonated strongly with 1950s audiences, even if they weren't consciously aware of it. 17. John Wayne considered Hondo one of his favorites. Although he rarely ranked his own films, John Wayne reportedly held Hondo in high regard. He appreciated its message, its performances, and its refusal to rely on easy thrills. Wayne felt the film represented a more honest version of the Western genre, one that acknowledged history's complexities instead of glossing over them. That quiet pride speaks volumes about how seriously he took the project. 18. The film's ending was intentionally ambiguous. The ending of Hondo doesn't tie everything up neatly. There's hope, but also uncertainty. The future remains dangerous, and peace feels fragile. This ambiguity was intentional. The filmmakers wanted to avoid a fairy tale conclusion and instead reflect the reality of frontier life. It's a bold choice that gives the film lasting emotional impact. 19. Hondo influenced later revisionist westerns. While not always credited directly, Hondo helped pave the way for more nuanced westerns in later decades. Its moral ambiguity, complex characters, and respectful treatment of Native Americans influenced filmmakers who wanted to challenge traditional genre tropes. You can see echoes of Hondo in films like Broken Arrow and even later westerns that question the mythology of the Old West. Its legacy is quieter but significant. 20. Hondo proves that less can be more. Ultimately, Hondo stands as proof that a western doesn't need massive battles or endless gunfights to be powerful. Its strength lies in restraint, character, and emotional honesty. By focusing on people rather than spectacle, the film achieves a timeless quality that still resonates today. It's a reminder that sometimes the most lasting stories are the ones told quietly. And that's why, more than 70 years later, Hondo remains one of the most underrated westerns ever made. And that's going to do it for today's deep dive into Hondo from 1953. A movie that doesn't shout to get your attention, but once it pulls you in, it stays with you. It's a western that trusts its characters, respects its audience, and proves that sometimes the quietest stories end up being the most powerful. If you've only ever seen Hondo once, or if it's been a long time since your last watch, this might be the perfect excuse to revisit it with fresh eyes. You'll probably notice a lot more now: the performances, the themes, and all those little details hiding just beneath the surface. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more classic movie deep dives, and drop a comment below telling us which old-school western you want us to cover next. There are a lot of great ones still waiting their turn. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.